Very excited today. We have a wonderful, exciting podcast number 2 for all you cunts.
Yes.
All right, we will be talking to Dave McKenna, author of Blow, author of Bully, author of one on my short list called American History X. You know this movie, Gordo?
Yes, I do.
Fucking A right you do, because we were hanging out back in the day when he was making it. Now, we're going to go all the way through this wonderful podcast. We're going to have Troll Patrol, a sort of new segment where I finally, after 25 years, respond to a troll on his website.
Some say you take the high road with all that stuff, but I don't think we're going to go that way today.
I think it's time. It's like for 20 years that's been the thing. Like Sam Macaroni, he was our guru on this shit, and he was like, never respond to trolls. Yeah, but look, we're gonna. Okay, so at the end we're going to be leaving you with one of the characteristics of our podcast is we're going to leave you with a present, a little gift. Content only we can provide.
Yes.
We left them with the first episode of The Good King last time.
Yes.
Entitled
Cunt.
We're going to be leaving you with the first chapter of my. I'm going to be leaving you with the first chapter of my audiobook, which should be available in 30 to 60 days. Boondock Saints Volume 1, Blood Origin. Now let's get right to it. Tonight, we're going to start out with doing free advertisements for shit we actually use. All right? Gordo's going to have a submission, so am I. I'll go first. Make it warm. You know what this is, Gordo?
Yes, I do. I've seen that plenty of times.
Yes, you have many times. This is electric guitar. And my advertisement is for Gibson guitars, Gibson Les Pauls in particular, because they are the best guitars.
Now, before, we got to talk about the work that's on top, because that is not a typical Gibson top.
No, it's not. This is a 72 blonde top, right? But I customized it with brass and engraving that I did, and I don't even know if you remember this. You know that I put the fucking initials of everybody in the band? You, our bass player, GOC right there. Yeah. Our drummer, Fat Hand Jackson, JMJ right there.
God rest his soul.
Me and Taylor down here. Duffy up here. Her name right here. Remember Big Bertha?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. This is why this is the best guitar, because you can do shit like this.
Hey, now, you got to explain those rings down there.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Those hold my slides. I was a slide guitar guy. Yeah. But you can also do shit like this with a Gibson Les Paul, the best guitar. You remember this one, Gordo?
Yeah. How could one not?
So
now, Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't really play a lot of Gibsons. It's still pretty.
He was a Fender guy.
Telecasters,
Stratocaster. Those are also good guitars, but this one is the best.
Shall I go?
What's your submission? What's your product you want to advertise for free?
I want to tell everyone about this whoop-ass product because it is, in fact, whoop-ass. It is not a guitar, no. Nor is it a musical instrument, but you can make things with it. It's this. This is a swirly cheese grater. And I got to tell you, there are many like this, but this one is mine.
It's mine. Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Go ahead, tell me where that came from. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, my God. By the way, I have the fucking hand. Is that an electric one?
Fuck no, it's not like you put the shit in the top. You got to fucking... But, dude, it comes flying out of here in quantities unknown.
I do the same thing. I actually keep the whole thing in a Ziploc bag in my fridge. I put it on, virtually everything.
Yeah.
All right, we're Sage. Do me a favor. Let's try our commercial. Here's how this goes. We've only had 2 podcasts, but we already have sponsorship.
Wow, really? Yeah.
We are our own sponsors. Yeah. Sage, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Where you can get all your Boondock gear at boondocksaints.com. A new arrival has come. Our 25th year anniversary t-shirt is now available. Get yourself a peacoat for this St. Patrick's Day. Get a Boondock rosary so no one will think you're gay. Pick up a 25th anniversary shirt so you can do a proper slanja. And always keep in mind, nothing rhymes with slanja.
What about manja, Dad?
What are you, Italian? Get the hell out of my house.
I think we need to punch that up. We need to punch that up a little bit. All right, now for our guest sitting backstage right now. Let me explain who he is before we bring this wordsmith of wordsmiths on. Good buddy of mine. Probably, I would say, the first fellow writer and friend I made in the business who kind of was like me. We both sold our scripts at the same time. David McKenna is the mastermind behind Blow, Bully, and one of the films on my short list, American History X, with Ed Norton, directed by Tony Kaye, written and produced by our guest, David motherfucking McKenna.
There he is.
There he is. You motherfucker. How are you?
Never better, my friend. You guys have a great freaking show. It kind of reminds me of Seinfeld. It's about nothing.
Yeah, it is completely.
I got a surprise for you, McKenna.
And I used to do that cheese grater, Gordo. Mine was smaller at the restaurant I worked at called Pentala in Santa Monica while I was a fucking struggling writer.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. But first, I have a fucking surprise for you. Remember?
Look at
that day.
Remember the days of September. The way that me and McKenna met, Gordo.
You had fucking hair. Look at the hair on his head back then. He had some.
Oh, God.
Shit.
Oh, God. Look
I
at
can't
that.
believe I'm wearing 3 layers. What was it, 20 degrees out in LA?
I remember. This was so fucked because this is how me and McKenna met. We didn't know each other before this. It was our first photo shoot for our first magazine cover for Movie Maker magazine, right? And the byline is, these 3 guys made a combined $2.5 million on their first screenplay sales. What are they doing right? And I remember going to McKenna, I was like, I'm not even the 0.5 of that. I didn't make the 0.5.
Bullshit, Troy.
No, I wasn't the 0.5.
I was a distant third.
Bullshit. We were both distant thirds. This motherfucker, that guy made all the money because he was like, he confirmed with us. He was like, yes, I made over $1 million. And me and you were like fucking stomping mad, dude. You made $1 million. What
was his screenplay? What did he say?
Yeah, well, he didn't. I looked him up. His name is.
He pulled up in a Porsche, and we were in Toyota Corollas.
Did he really get a Porsche like with the check?
He went out and got a fucking Ferrari with his check.
Writers don't drive Porsches. Directors drive Porsches.
I'll tell you what, though. Check out this. 2 out of 3 ain't bad because you got fucking American History X out of this motherfucker and Boondock out of this motherfucker. And by the way, I don't even have the original. I don't have a copy of this. This is a copy that was made for some promo shit. But it's now become so important to me because this was the last tranche of spec scripts sold. And for those of you listening that don't know, spec scripts are like there's a unicorn guy out there that wrote a great script and it's making its way through the agencies and they all want them. And they used to take chances on those people, right? They used to spelunk the depths of Hollywood to find guys like you and me and evidently Jason Heitman. And they found a couple of us. We were in that whole last thing. Quentin Tarantino did it. Rodriguez did it. A couple other guys, us. And
just a little bit before us.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, when they did that, they had a high degree of success. I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't know what Jason Heitman quite did after this. He wrote a couple books, I hear. Shit, we'll put him on the show. We'll get the three of us.
Why not?
We'll get the band back together, brother.
Back together.
I'm going to Google him. I'll Google him.
Google his ass. So here's the deal. My old buddy is all shit aside, he's a fucking excellent writer. American History X, Blow, Bullet, they all prove that. But he has done his new... See that? Wait a minute. Is this fucking...
You're upside down. You had it right the first time.
The other fucking way. Can you guys read this from right to left, or is it left to right?
Yes, baby. We got it.
It's just fine. It's just fine.
Okay.
We're still learning. Baby steps. Baby steps here with the
podcasting. This is The Republic by McKenna. Go ahead and put up his page. You can get it on Amazon right now. I've already cracked it open, dude.
Tell us a little bit.
I remember reading your script back in the day. We exchanged scripts, and we were both fucking sucking each other's dicks. But I didn't know. I didn't know that like this kind of shit would happen. Gordo was also in the club. He and I have written one that we are going to start fucking making now. But you were the first guy I met in the business that actually fucking, like me, got a big fucking thing. And now you're fucking killing it. This book is fucking excellent. It almost seems like some kind of autobiography. Explain The Republic to us, Dave.
Well, buddy, it's a dystopian tale. I've always been kind of fascinated with the fragility of democracy. Mm-hmm. I've always been fascinated by dictators, and how do these guys rise to power? What goes on inside their heads? What are their motivations? And I said, we could easily have a dictator rise in America. And I thought I would tell this father-son story sort of set in the future, kind of an unknown future, a la, 1984 JV.
Yeah.
And I just started writing it. And, you mentioned caning, and I come up with a few other nice little policies that probably America could use. And I knew it would never be
like caning.
TV show.
You think it'd be awesome?
The world's
what I thought he said caning.
Do you think that caning, like America, could use caning? Like that would help us out as a society?
I'll tell you what.
Because I totally agree with that.
You throw the gum on the ground. You throw the gum on the ground.
We got 300,000 kids in freaking locked up, missing school. The recidivism rate is 75%. Singapore has it right, man. Singapore, they have no crime. If you don't flush the toilet of a public bathroom, you get fined, and they have no crime there. And meanwhile, we have freaking 25,000 murders a year here. And why?
Well, you guys have in California.
You know what, Troy? A statistic that I came across on the research of the book is the first murders of felons don't happen until they've been arrested for 11 felonies already, on average.
Really? Is that a true fact?
If you cane these fuckers when they're 14, you keep them out of juvie, they're back at school within a day or two, and the recidivism rate drops significantly. But we don't have the guts in this country, so we don't do it. It's a political, fireball.
All right. I'll tell you what. Let's just pose a question. Gordo, what do you think about this whole idea of caning?
I think it's great, and also with the felonies, I can't believe that about the felonies. Like Trump's got 34 already. I'm wondering he's still gonna pop caps in people's asses. He's gonna fucking fly off and just start shooting motherfuckers.
Right. I'm gonna tell you
right out the White House, the fucking Oval Office door. Just fucking.
Right. We're getting too hot too quick. Stage, we've got two things. Some kind of weird magic is starting with our podcast here, because Gordo, I sent David your fucking hot ship video, and it's been re-edited again and added to, and I would like you to explain. Sage, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh God.
There's going to be a tie-in here because McKenna's got a new meme as well that just came out today. You're not going to fucking believe this shit.
Great.
Let's give some people the world's spiciest chip.
beer?
Hopefully nothing goes wrong. I told you it was spicy.
A little more fucking spicy than you said.
What are you talking about?
You gonna fucking give people that shit?
No, we're telling people ahead of time. It's our new brand.
A little spicy?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little more than a little spicy, you fucking douche.
What are you talking about?
What do you know? You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. This is some fucking content, dude.
All right. See, what they added was you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. Now you're walking around trying to get them. I'll bet you they will do 2 more edits of this thing. Explain, G. Explain.
I just want to point out how red my fucking lips were. And I don't know if you could see it through the beard. Like a couple fucking flaming bright fire extinguishers.
Was that
yeah, dude, it was because of the fucking chip. That thing was insane. I've never eaten anything so fucking hot.
Dude, I sent that to McKenna last night, and all he sent me was, ha. All right, now let's get to fucking... By the way, was that guy sitting down security for that dude?
There was 3 dudes there. He was one of them. When I walked up, he had a camera. So when I came back, he was sitting there just like minding his own. And I didn't know what he was going to do. You know? So, yeah.
Oh,
that's why he looked like security. Like, I'm like, that's why... What you don't...
This little pussy? What you
don't see is when I walk up, I say, "Are you here because in case I want to kick his fucking ass?" That's what are you doing here? And he's like, he went like this, and I was like, "All right, fucking, then it's on."
Okay, good. All right, now let's play. Again, there's some kind of magic going on in the air. Every time we're fucking doing something, somebody out of the blue hits fucking internet gold. Here comes fucking McKenna. By the way, he's not happy about this.
What happened?
Go. All right, play that one more time. Play that one more time. Oh, dude, McKenna told me about that yesterday. I just woke up early this morning and it popped on my feed at Instagram, and I was like, holy shit. What do you think of that, brother?
I think it's hysterical. I mean, they must be, there's some desperate people going on to try and make that link, I think. I mean, come on. I think that Elon in general is a pretty good guy who wants what's best for America. And he, all of his actions so far towards the Jewish state have been pretty decent. I kind of find that hard to believe, but hey, it's funny. And you got guys, he opened himself up for a little bit of ridicule, and he's getting it. Do
you think he actually meant it, though? I mean, I looked at that. I think he said something before, and it was like, my heart to yours.
I think that's out of here with that shit.
I think that's what it means. I think it means
my heart to you.
Means my heart means for you. It's a saying. Yeah. That is out there, and my heart is for you. That people are quoting, and like it's
watch out. We got
saying, Gordo. Oh. I don't know, but I mean,
maybe that's what Hitler was doing too. It's like, I'm going to rip all your hearts out and throw them away. I'm going to take all your hearts, throw them away.
A far left guy. I'm a
but then they're showing all the different politicians who've done this.
No. Watch the whole video. They showed pictures. It's not that. I'm with you. Okay, I see how it's going. All right, 2 against 1 in this motherfucker. All right.
Hold on, McKenna. I am signing.
I don't know what's worse. I could be worse. I tried to sell some books off of that maneuver. I think I failed miserably. No.
We're gonna sell you some fucking books. I already posted the fucking link. It's an awesome thing. All right, this is a copy of our thing with the article attached. I stamped it with Boondock shit, signed it. The fan that gives me the best fuck you Duffy, the most creative fuck you Duffy, wins this from podcast episode 2, an heirloom and one of a kind. So once we get his address, McKenna, I'm sending this to you in a self-addressed envelope. You sign it, we'll send it to the fan.
I'm down.
So we got that. Now,
are you going to send it to Jim?
Jim, yeah, we're going to get into that, brother. We're going to get into that. I mean, that impressive. It's funny. Gordo, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you. I hadn't talked to McKenna in like fucking 15 years, so I called him up like, you want to be on a podcast and shit? Yeah. And we did this other thing. Like there was this guy, Jake Brown, who's become a great friend here.
Oh, no, I was talking about Jim, the other guy who's on the magazine cover.
Jason Heitman.
Jason
Heitman.
Jason.
Yeah, I was offered a fucking Jason. If you're out there, tell me what happened.
Reach out.
Everybody knows me and McKenna. Let's reintroduce you to the crowd. No, I was talking to McKenna, and I'm like, "You want to come on the podcast?" We're catching up, man. It turns out he lives on like one of those little islands right off the freeway that you see going down to San Diego, like with a sort of a land bridge going over there. You know, there's a bunch of them in Tennessee here. This is like the land of lakes. And we were just like catching up. And I'm like, you know what? I'll send something to you. You send something to me. And he sent this thing. I sent him Blood Spoon. And he sent this thing called TWA Flight 800. Do you remember this, G?
Yeah.
You remember that?
A little bit. It's been a while, but yeah, I do remember this.
In 1989, actually, fucking McKenna, go ahead. You are nobody better than to fill us in on the backstory of this. It happened, 30, 40 years ago, and I remember it. Go.
Well, this is just something that I'm working on. I'm working on 6 things or 7 damn things, but this one is my kind of a one that I've been working on for about 15 years with. I
will grind all of your hearts, all of your Jews. Come to me.
No, it's just I just found this book by happenstance called The Downing of TWA Flight 800. I've always been pretty fascinated with plane crashes.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do any spoilers here, but let's just say that it was not a mechanical malfunction on how this plane went down. You know, this plane, planes don't blow up in the middle of the sky. They get in trouble and they crash down to the ground. Yeah. And that's kind of what, and then there's this couple, Jim and Liz Sanders, who didn't believe what the government was feeding them. And, you know, I've always wanted to do kind of a conspiratorial movie, even though this is a crime and not a conspiracy. You know, we're big fans of all the President's Men and JFK and all those, you know, Parallax View and so I wanted to dip my toe in this genre, and it turned out to be sort of a life-changing type deal, and hopefully we're going to get the movie made one of these days.
Were you involved with any of the people who were actually there? Did you interview them, talk to them?
I've talked to a few people and on the phone, and Jim and Liz have put me in touch with some people, and obviously there's some people that don't want to talk to me. But, you know, all I'm looking at is the evidence. I'm looking at the facts behind this case. You don't need to get emotional. You don't need to get, you know, everything is about ration. Yeah. And the evidence points to a missile taking down this plane. Yep. And an
FBI.
And I'm not gonna expand too much on it because I do want, you know.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
I don't want the financiers to get pissed off at me, but
you know what's funny about McKenna, dude? Gordo, you know how I tell you, like when you reach full G, no one wants to be. Don't be around when Gordo reaches full G. McKenna's sort of the same way. Like last night we were talking, and I'm like, well, we want to talk about TWA Flight 800. And he's like, well, you know, there's some people interested in making it, and I don't want to jinx it. And then like 60 seconds later, he's like, fuck it. We're going to say anything we want. And he just like totally went full G on me, man.
You know what, though, Troy? Is the crazy thing is there's no more rules. Remember there was like all these. Remember there was.
It's because of this.
There wasn't. You know what, Troy? You were a rule breaker. I'll give you that much. But for me, I've always followed sort of protocol with the business. You know, and especially being a screenwriter, you're the low guy on the totem pole when it comes to importance. I mean, did you hear about the Polish actress?
No.
She fucked the writer to get the part.
Polish. Yeah.
So, you know, I've always followed sort of protocol, and now, you know, it's just like people are submitting, you know, to 5 directors, a script of 5 directors at a time. And the first one, they used to go one by one. It took forever, but the business is so out of whack right now that it's every man for himself.
What do you think? What do you think is the cause of that? I mean, I've been doing podcasts lately. I just did Gary Beekler's Nerdrotic podcast. That's pretty much all they talk about. Their contention is wokeism and DEI broke film and TV. Yeah. And all that shit was done. It sucked. And now it's starting to come back to the stuff we all know and love.
That's part of it. And that's the easy way, that they've alienated half the country, with their politics. Back in the good old days of Louis B. Mayer, actors and actresses would keep their mouth shut when it came to politics. Yeah. Yeah. And the studios don't have that power. But I think another thing is, I have kids, and all the kids, they don't know what Ordinary People is. They don't know what a movie where they feel actual emotion. Yeah. We had a love affair growing up of film, and and it was or comedy or whatever, but we love movies. Nowadays, when kids come out of movies, there's no love. They feel like they've been through a roller coaster ride, but they don't have that hardcore attraction.
Here's a question. Well, from 0 to 18 years old, what was your favorite movie? Like, I can tell you, I would have to put that between Godfather 2 and Highlander of all films.
Oh yeah, 100%. Caddyshack.
I can pick. That's not a fair question, Troy. But I'll tell you what. I remember I'm with my buddy Randy Long, and we have two dates, and we show up to the first night of Platoon, and it's raining out, and there's no way in hell we're getting in.
Okay.
There was no way in hell, and we go to the back door. This is a nice theater. We go through the back door. Somehow somebody opened it. We went right through. We walked right in. We sat right in the middle, and then we just watched as the crowd just filled in behind us. And then I watched. I had never seen a war movie like that before. I hadn't seen Apocalypse yet, really, I don't think. And this is in '86. Mm-hmm. I was a senior in high school, and I just go, "Fuck, this is a gnarly experience." Mm-hmm. And that's But then all right, so Platoon for you. We got no. That's not my favorite movie of all time. But
up to 18 years old though. Up to 18 years old, your early adulthood. What was your favorite movie at 18?
Oh my God!
Pick one.
I didn't know any better. I don't know. I couldn't come up with a list. I would say maybe. Oh shit! Bad News Bears.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's like you graduated
Animal House.
Years before.
Animal House.
Animal House was awesome. Remember Porky's?
Raising Arizona. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Raising Arizona was 807. Just makes it.
And there was no crawdads to be had. We ate sand. You ate sand?
We ate sand. You ate sand
right now. We're going to do a very unique thing for the writers. We're trying to smack in the back of the head and trying to get to act right. They want to learn from guys like me and you who did it. So what we're going to do, and David has agreed to this, is we are going to do a section of the script reading, just the three of us. I'll be playing Jim and reading all the narration. Gordo, you play Sally. McKenna, you just sit back. Play the bartender. He's only got 2 quick lines. I want you to listen.
I can handle it.
I really want you to listen to what's going on. You don't have to refer to the script. Sage can put the script up on the screen for us to do this. There is a reason I am showing this portion of your script, which basically is the 25-page turn. On page 25, something's about to happen. So let me kind of give you our viewers a briefing on what's happened up to now. Trust me, excellently written. But what McKenna did was in the first cold open, introduced passenger after passenger after passenger and their connection to people here. They go up in the plane goes down, and now we're all left with nothing. All the people on the ground, the family members, all this bullshit. Suddenly it's post-crash. And the first 20 pages is the NTSB coming in, the FBI coming in. The NTSB goes, what the fuck is the FBI doing in here? You guys don't investigate plane crashes. But there they are. And now all the people that are at the high levels of, say, TWA, NTSB, are wondering what the hell is going on as they are salvaging bodies from the ocean and the plane. And a brilliant thing you do, and this might even be missed by producers because that read scripts, is you're putting together the plane from the wreckage, 40% here, 60% later, 80%. It's a visual trigger to what we're actually seeing, the conspiracy being exposed in the same percentage. Brilliant. Look, he's basically going, you fucking noticed that? Yeah, I noticed that. We're both fucking geniuses. Fuck it. So's he. I'm going to ask you at the end of the day if Gordo can have your script. I will send it to him. He's only going to have read these 5 pages. But what you do at the 25-page turn is amazing. And Gordo, I will be reading all the within the dialogue, the parentheticals. Let me do that. Yep. Okay? You just read Sally's voice. And McKenna, my friend, here's your Christmas present. Sit back and watch your script come alive. Let's go, Sage. Roll it. I wonder if this has ever been done before.
I don't think it has.
Live reading on the fucking internet with actual writer. All right. Interior, JFK Ramada Inn parking lot. Pan quickly down to Jim, standing outside his beat-up red Toyota. The streak of light he saw before is figment of his imagination. As he observes NYPD officers blanketing every entrance and exit of the hotel, he experiences excruciating leg pain all of a sudden. He leans against a car, fights it.
You okay, pal?
Pan quickly to Sally Kincaid, age 48. The auburn-haired truck driver loads her suitcase into the back of her Ford Explorer. Jim says, yeah, shattered my leg several years back, never quite healed.
Oh, I know leg pain. I drive a big rig. Which newspaper are you with?
I'm not. My wife has been a TWA flight attendant for 10 years.
Oh, was she on the plane?
Jim shakes his head.
So why are you here?
Well, I'm a retired cop turned investigative journalist. And never in the 75-year history of commercial aviation have I heard of a plane exploding in midair.
Well, that's terrorism for you.
Jim moseys over and offers his hand. She takes it. Jim Sanders.
Sally Kincaid.
You lose someone, Sally?
Yes, my brother.
Sage? That's my brother. Okay, Jim says, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Actually, I'm relieved. I didn't think they'd ever find him.
Well, I pray you can find peace.
Well, first, I need to find a bar. Haven't had a sip in 2 weeks.
You certainly have earned one.
Care to join me?
He checks his watch.
Yes, I'm well aware it's 10 a.m.
He laughs.
Liquor works wonders for leg pain.
On the track, an extremely loud blender. CJ's Bar, day, cut 2, tight on a blender. Queens to the core. The bartender stops it, pours, adds lime and salt, hands it to Jim.
Haven't used that thing in 3 years. No shit.
I feel special.
Don't ask me again.
Sally cackles, lights a smoke, and sips her Bloody Mary as the Atlanta Olympics play on the overhead bar TV.
You see Slick Willie pay us a visit? Him and his pickle wife?
Him and his pickle wife. You get to meet him?
You kidding? Goddamn draft dodger. People snap photos with him.
Flash 2, interior JFK Ramada Inn ballroom. Sally Kincaid's POV. Luke's parents, Julian and Sam Ramlinger, stoically pose with the president and the suited Kallstrom as cameras flash. Sally's VO says,
I know, he's the president.
We're back to the CJ's bar. Top bartender delivers her a fresh Bloody Mary.
But your kid is rotten at the bottom of a goddamn ocean.
You happen to share your feelings with anyone else inside the Ramada? She looks confused. That's terrorism for you thing?
A few, not many. One man from Paris who lost his son basically accused Agent Kallstrom, the guy running this clown show, of inventing shit. I can see it in his eyes. Another man who lost his wife and 2 daughters, his entire family, drank Kallstrom's Kool-Aid from day one.
Jim sips, glances up to the Olympics on TV, back to Sally. When did they find your brother?
3 days ago.
She produces the same engagement ring we saw earlier. Jim says, it's beautiful.
He was going to propose to his girlfriend. Get on one knee, Eiffel Tower, the whole enchilada.
Did you ID his body? She nods. Jim patiently waits. She sips, closes her eyes. We do a flashback to the TWA Flight in midair. Her brother stuffs the ring in his pocket, smiles out the window, reacts to a huge flash. 800 explodes. Exterior, fiery sky, dusk. Steady on Robbie. He falls through the sky, 13,000 feet in the air. Severely burned, blood pouring from his legs, as 230 bodies, luggage, plane parts, and body parts accompany him. We follow them for 30 seconds until they violently crash into the Atlantic. Back to CJ's bar, Sally emerges from her gruesome visual, tears in her eyes, while Jim tenderly puts a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, Sally. My bedside manner's a bit rusty.
No. I'm thankful you're curious. Hell, nobody else is.
She sips, breathes.
I went to the coroner's yesterday. The males were all in black coffins, the females in white.
Flash 2, Suffolk County Coroner's Office. She opens a black coffin and Robbie's missing one leg at the kneecap and his burnt upper torso is unspeakably morbid.
He was burned, clothes dangling.
CJ's bar. Jim nods, hands her a bar napkin. She wipes her eyes.
One leg cut off at the knee.
He was missing part of his leg? She nods. You talked to anyone else about the condition of the bodies? She shakes her head. Where was Robbie sitting?
Right side window, by the wing.
Anything odd about his clothing?
Yes. On the inside of his sleeves, there were these black globules.
Globules? Any chance you have his shirt now?
No, security was tight.
Jim nods, sips.
Why, what are you thinking, Jim?
Jim ponders, quickly throws his arms up to protect his face, as if he sees an explosion at the very last second.
Holy fuck. I knew I liked you. But no, I'm the truck-driving nutjob and Kallstrom's the FBI charmer.
Was that what the general consensus was inside the Ramada?
Oh, whatever Kallstrom said was fact. It was all shut up and blame TWA or adios insurance check, meaning it was terrorism. It was terrorism. We get it. Nada.
Meaning if
it was terrorism, we get nada. Sorry.
Sally clinks his glass with her Bloody Mary and stares at him.
Find out who did this, Jim.
All right, that's the end of that. I want to go back right there, right? When Sally says, no, security was tight, Jim nods and sips. Why, what are you thinking? She's asked him about the globules. And Jim ponders and quickly throws his arms up like this. That's one of those moments where a real writer, a master wordsmith like my friend David McKenna, can say shit without actually fucking saying it. If you can say things without words, I mean, everybody knows your shirt sleeves are protected if you're sitting there on a thing with your eye. And then this was all he had to do. He didn't have to say anything to her, and that's what convinced her. Something he didn't even have to say. Now, one of the other things I want to point out here is this. The plane explodes. He falls to the sky, 13,000 feet in the air, severely burned, blood pouring from his legs as 230 bodies, luggage, plane parts, and body parts accompany him. We follow them for 30 seconds until they violently crash into the Atlantic. I can tell you this as a director. That's my visual candy. When I'm fucking reading that, 100%. I'm going, I have never seen a shot like that. No. How am I going to pull that off? I need to go talk to fucking everyone to make that the best goddamn shot of the film, and I probably need to do a few of them. So that is a writer will even get into the visuals of a director and show him how much he can fucking show off here. You know, like in American History X, Tony Kaye had a lot of fucking talent, but the things I remember the most visually from that movie were the slow motion black and white Stark shots. You know? And he found ways to show off within McKenna's work. And I'm wondering, shit, did you fucking write that shit in black? Or were you like black and white? At this point, I don't know. But the reason I wanted to talk about this 25 page thing is because that is what Blake Snyder, what Save the Cat. It's a great book on sort of the theory of writing and how you're supposed to do it. And on page 25 is where, like, he usually just flips to a script and sees what the turn is. And the turn on page 25 is everything changes and everything about that story is because of this page 25 thing.
Normal life goes away. That's
what we just read. Yeah, the old world goes away, the new world comes in, and that's what we just read. From this point forward, that one connection between a victim family member and a hero American is now what the whole fucking story's about from that point forward. So that excellent work, Dave. Excellent work, dude.
It was hard to get there. You know, it's sometimes it's really hard to get there. We get diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah. And I kind of referenced a little bit our great, wonderful Alan J. Pakula, who used to really get to the crux of the story early of what's going on, i.e. parallax view. I mean, you really get into the, you're 15 minutes in and you know what's going on, and it's key, especially with the attention span of people nowadays,
and the economy of words that you use here. But I think that's something that anybody who's starting out doesn't understand.
So good.
You feel like you want to say more, but you try to say more with less.
And you have this problem.
You don't have big blocks of description here. There's just a couple of sentences in your
And then you have like the genuine everyday, like the bartender that doesn't like using the fucking blender. Come in there, he's a truck driver. It seems like this simple thing that almost isn't going anywhere, and then it's fucking everything. So,
we're so, as an audience, we're smart, and you don't need that much. And like, I remember when I was starting out, Troy, I read The Good Shepherd, Eric Ross script, and that fucking thing was just brilliant. And I go, my God, because he wanted us to figure stuff out as a reader. And it taught me so much reading those great scripts when we were younger.
It's funny though, man. I mean, when you get in the business, the studio's number one note on a movie is like, "Do you think they'll get it?"
Oh my God!
And I hate connecting dot to A to B to C. I hate it. I like trusting the audience, You
have to say DOD. Can't you just say Department of Defense?
Nobody's going to get that.
All right.
Oh, my God. Shoot me.
So I got a couple quick questions for you here. You were just like me. We were both I'm a bouncer at the time, trying to write and get my script done. What were you doing at the time? Tell the people what you were doing at the time and how you kind of broke into the business.
Well, I worked on, right when I moved up to LA from graduating San Diego State, I worked on a bunch of movie sets because I wanted to learn what that was like. But then I realized that I wasn't getting any writing done because you're slaving away for 15 hours a day on set, just getting people bagels and shit. And so I got a job waiting tables.
Where at?
That was perfect because I could make $400, $500 a week at the time. And
where's the wait table?
I waited at a restaurant called Pentala in Santa Monica, right on Wilshire between 3rd and 4th. It was a great job. I loved it. And I worked 4 or 5 shifts a week. And then I worked, I wrote. I got up early and I wrote and I kicked
And how did you get the script into the right hands? I mean, did you know anybody in the business at the time?
Yeah, great question. I used to wait on this guy named Nick Grillo who worked for Neufeld Remy, who did The Hunt for October and Patriot Games. Those guys were over at Paramount. And I looked at Grillo. Grillo used to come in all the time, and I finally looked at his credit card and I saw the company name, and I said, Nick, are you president of this company? And he goes, oh yeah, Dave. And I go, I'm a screenwriter. And his eyes rolled.
He goes,
of course.
got
Shit. Here it comes. And I go, Nick, here's what we're going to do. Give me 2 weeks. I'm going to polish up a couple scripts. You're going to come in. I'm going to buy you dinner. I'm going to buy you a glass of red. He used to drink red wine out of a Italian drink glass, not out of a red wine glass, out of a bucket.
That little corral. Yeah.
A bucket. Yeah.
No,
just an old school Italian. And I called him 2 weeks later. He came in. I bought him dinner. I gave him 2 scripts. Remember, we had to go back to Kinko's back in the day to print shit up. And I was expecting to hear from him maybe in 2 weeks. He called me the next day. He goes, hey, David, you're a pretty fucking good writer. And I go, thanks, Nick. And he goes, I'm giving these scripts to an agent friend of mine at Metropolitan. And I went to go meet with the agent, and boom, the next day I'm signed. I go back to my apartment to tell my roommate, who's kind of self-involved. I go, dude, I just got an agent. He looks at me and he goes, does this shirt match these pants?
What a dick. What were the 2 scripts? Was one of them American history?
One of them was my football script, which I've yet to produce, but I want to direct. It's a great little thing I could probably do for between 8 and 10 mil, and a murder mystery, which I haven't sold either. American History.
So where the fuck does American History X come in?
My 4th script.
Oh shit!
I started writing when I was at San Diego State. I started writing when I was in college. I think I had just turned 20, and a guy I knew got accused of a rape. And so I wrote this script called The Male Perspective because at the time, Jodie Foster's movie was out, where she gets raped. Yeah. So I wanted to do the male perspective of what it's like for a guy to get accused of a rape.
Yeah.
Very politically correct, I know.
Yeah, I know.
That got me going, and then I didn't know how to format it. So I went to the San Diego State bookstore. I thought I was going to write a play or whatever. And then I see this one, back then there was only one screenwriting book, Sid Field. I read it. I read it in 2 days. I was a business major, and I go, I fucking hate being a business major. I don't get it. This is who I am as a person. And I literally found what I wanted to do the rest of my life that day.
Dude, I have a similar story. I just requested, I knew a bunch of PAs like you, and I requested that one of my friends bring me a script that had been made into a movie, so I just copied the format from there. I was like, what does int mean? She's like, it's interior. Oh, literally. And then I just fucking wrote it up. And there was no screenwriting program. So we both kind of came in at the tip-ass end of that.
We used to use tabs.
Yeah.
Yep. Total tabs. Let me ask you something. There was I wasn't even aware of this. I don't even know if I told you this, but DeLuca, who was the president of New Line that made American History with Tony Kaye, he had become my friend through the bidding war with Harvey Weinstein. DeLuca kind of lost it, but we would have lunch every now and then. So I'm having lunch at the Ivy with him, which is right across from New Line Cinema, and he tells me this fucking story about Tony Kaye, because I think I was talking, I was like, fucking, how's my boy McKenna doing? And he's like, fucking Tony Kaye brought a bunch of gurus in my office today and fucking blessed the script.
Oh my God.
Did you know that happened?
What I thought, G, was that he was just like an eccentric guy. I didn't know there was any problems. But Lasseter, I just found this out last week. Lasseter sent me this little thing on Instagram that interviewed Tony Kaye about how Ed Norton came in, took the edit away from him. I didn't know about any of this till last week. Give us some inside scoop, McKenna, on what the fuck happened.
I mean, it's been said he can be difficult, right? So
I was there. I was there the whole time, and me and Edward and Tony, we got along great through the shoot, through pre-production, through everything. We get to the editing room, and Tony is taking forever, and he can't find the fucking movie. And it comes from him being a commercial director, and his editor wouldn't listen to any Alan Heim. I wanted to choke him. He wouldn't listen to any of our comments, take any of our notes. Tony was the director god, and we just saw cut after cut. The first cut I saw was 91 minutes. me and Eddie Furlong and Tony watched it together, and I was fucking so upset. And I just, because usually when you do assemblage, it's, Troy.
So it's way over. You're cutting shit out after.
And so it was just a mess for almost a year. And I remember we're in a meeting, and, I'm the low man on the totem pole. I know for a fact, I'm not going to get in there. Who's going to get in there? And I'm just like putting all my energy behind Edward. I just go, please, let's get Edward in there with a different editor and put the script. We knew we had everything from the dailies. We'd seen all the dailies. Let's just let's do it one version of the script.
Yeah.
Because why? When you're a screenwriter, you're the architect, and the director is the builder, and and so you don't, at the very last second, you don't move a fucking bathroom to the other side of the house, while you're building,
Yeah.
So Edward was really, truly, and Jerry Greenberg, a hero in this process. I'm sorry, but DeLuca said it best. DeLuca said, "We're rescuing a child from an abusive father." And Tony didn't have it, and as much as he wants to complain and bitch and moan about it, we're here to do a movie. And you know what? I was talking to Gary Fleeter about 5 years ago about it. Tony hadn't even seen the movie. And Tony just did this huge, Gordo, I don't know if you heard about he took out $100,000 worth of ads in Variety and Hollywood Reporter, doing quotes about how he was some victim and all that shit.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
And he later admitted that he saw the movie, and Fleeter said, you know what, it was actually a pretty fucking good movie. So he destroyed his own career just to make a big giant scene because he was so angry at Edward. But instead of just working with the guy, he would have worked his whole life. He would, he could have lived off those laurels forever. But instead he just, and what are you going to do? You know
what? Some of the greatest artists that I've seen in the business, and I've known some of them and been with some of them and worked with some of them. There's that child thing that they keep. This is why some of the best actors can pull that magic off. There's a child inside of them. Say like a guy like Robert De Niro may let that child run rampant a little bit too much, but a guy like, say, Willem Dafoe, he will bring it out at the right times. Sometime when Dafoe was on set, you'd almost have to watch him like a toddler. He always needs to get his spacing and walk around and touch shit. And then you work with him, and suddenly it's like two kids in a fucking sandbox, and we come up with the fucking river dance scene in fucking Boondock Saints, right? Yeah. It leads to good shit, right? Some of those people, because I look at Kay as a wildly fucking talented director.
Major.
The fucking shots he got, just that stark shot of the mom walking back into the house, slow motion from behind. All the shots on the curb, the fucking eyes going up, Vineyard's eye. They stuck with me. It's like you watch that movie once and you remember those. All right. Were those shots in the first cut he did of 91 minutes?
Some of them. He was his own DP, Tony won more Peabodys than Tony and Ridley Scott put together.
Really?
And yes. And wildly talented. And I love the fact that he was English, yes, Kubrick wasn't from England. He's from Brooklyn, but he lived in England, and and his films felt a lot like that. And I love that Tony was British, and we had everything would have been just fine if he just acted like an adult for a little bit and just said, hey, let's cut a version of the script. How about that? Rather than go off on our own and do some commercial, and everything would have been fine. I mean, he was great on set. Everybody got along. I mean, Edward, Tony was his own DP. So Edward did a lot of the blocking.
Oh, yeah, really? He did blocking as an actor? He set it up or just acted his part?
He would talk to Tony, and he said, I'm going to come down the stairs here. And, he helped direct a lot of that.
Wow. I can't believe that.
But he had to, because Tony was so obsessed with shooting
getting the shot, right?
Camera, and so Edward was not out of line ever on any of this process. He always waited until he had the correct backing. He never stepped on any toes. He got crucified for a lot of this shit, but I was there, and it's all bullshit.
So Norton sort of stepped up reluctantly, but then you were like, no, we got to save this thing. And Kay was like, I am the god.
Yes. Edward was extremely reluctant to do anything, but he knew we had the movie. He had seen daily. We had both seen the dailies. We were hanging out, and we knew what we had. And it's just a matter of, the whole thing was the editing room. It was all editing.
Where was DeLuca on all this? What was he doing?
We were just waiting on these guys to finally make up their mind and say, hey, we got to take this kid away from this dad. Oh. And he was very methodical about it, very studio-esque about it. And finally they just said, let's put Edward in there with a different editor. We got Jerry Greenberg. And within a few months, I looked at the new cut and I go, thank you, God. And it's just,
DeLuca, I look at, he kind of harkened back to the old studio guys that actually gave a shit about film. I remember I was talking with him once and he was looking at dailies and he goes, why the fuck didn't they wet down the streets? And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what do you care if the fucking streets are wet down? And he goes, look at this. And he switches between the two, or he has the projection. I'm like, oh, yeah, shit, that looks a lot better. DeLuca really gave a shit, man.
I remember when we screened it for Mike.
Yeah.
And it was literally, I'm walking out of the screening room and I forget, maybe his assistant said, Mike, you gotta call on Bob wants to talk to you or whatever. And he looked at her and he goes, just give me a minute. Okay. And right then I knew, okay, we have something good here.
He's going to polish shit. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
all right.
That's the truth, baby.
There it is.
All right. It was funny when we started talking. I was like, you send me yours. You send me, I'll send you mine, McKenna. I sent you Blood Spoon Council, the thing.
Yes.
Did you give me at least 10 pages on that?
I gave you, I read the first act, 25 pages. I thought it was fantastic. Excellent writing, Troy. Who's your partner's name?
Chris Lassiter. He should have been joining us today. He's the other co-host of the Boondoctor Podcast, but he had a medical appointment.
Yeah, no, it's dense, but it's a really good read, and the characters really jump off the page, and I obviously you think of Fincher, and you think of. And I know you're directing it, but it's something, it's that.
No, I'm not. We're gonna. I'm doing the same thing you are.
What's the movie? What's Fincher's movie that Zodiac? And so that was, it was really creepy and.
Did Fincher do? Who fucking directed Seven?
Something like. I want to read the whole.
Fincher, he did Seven. Yeah, that's his serial killer, genius thing.
Yeah, but he also did Zodiac.
He did Zodiac as well?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I think Zodiac's pretty brilliant. But it's that it was really, it's different for you, which I like. Oh. It's not Boondock. It's very, it's Academy Award type shit, at least the first act was. Seriously, it's really spooky.
I actually had
lambs, all that shit, So it's really great. I'm actually gonna read the whole thing.
All right, let's get back on the air when we all get done with something, but we got to add another thing to this mix too.
Okay.
And thank you for that wonderful review, David. I got to tell you, one of the things that I was talking about this with the guys on Nerdrotic. I don't know about the two of you, but I am worried about men and boys today. And that it took a lot, right? Because that's the smallest violin in the world. Nobody gives a shit about the suffrage of men. So for me to notice it, I'm just like, something bad is happening. We actually need to support each other. I lost this man over politics. We ended our friendship over politics for a year and a half. We've been friends for 30 fucking years, man. And, so we want to get into that of writers supporting other writers and directors and producers and shit. So I'm going to be bringing a whole bunch of motherfuckers on here, and we're going to try to get shit made. Now, I know that you are having a good time with TWA Flight 800. You got a choice. You got a chance to get that made?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yeah. If it all falls apart, let's talk again. I got some.
Okay.
I know a couple billionaires now.
I'm sure we'll have a bunch of stories.
Fucking assholes, but they'll do shit.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm gonna take. I have to take a quick piss. This sucks about podcast. Talk amongst yourselves about shit.
Am I done? Am I done?
No. We're gonna do one last thing, and then we're done. And trust me, you're gonna enjoy this.
I'm gonna go too. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Really?
All right, I might as well go.
You know, I forgot. I was thinking about that. It was one of my favorite Nicolas Cage films that he did back in the day. That stuck with me forever. Was do you ever see Vampire's Kiss?
No.
You see so many people that see it. The most bananas Nicolas Cage shit there ever was is Vampire's Kiss. He thinks he's been bitten by a vampire, or he has a bat fly into the room, and he's trying to fucking have a nice evening with a lady, and this bat flies in and interrupts the whole scenario. And then Jennifer Beals plays the vampire, right? So from Flashdance, so she comes in, and she starts to take him over, like get really dom, like fucking full dom with him, and she sets up sex, and he starts to slowly lose his mind. He's a literary agent in New York City, and he starts to slowly lose his mind as he's going out to fucking clubs and shit, and he ends up buying fake teeth because he thinks he's a vampire, and he's creeping around.
I'm a vampire.
I'm a vampire. And he fucking actually bites a chick in the neck at one of these clubs with these fucking teeth. Yeah,
dude, that's one of my faves, dude. You remember?
I'm gonna see it. I'll for sure see that.
It's really hard to find it. It's hard to find it, but it's one of my favorite things.
That's the movie quote I should have given you the other day. Elva, wherever you are.
The scene in Leaving Las Vegas right before he gets fired of him wasted saying "Get over it's" on the phone, and he's got the phone upside down. And have you seen Racing with the Moon?
I haven't seen that yet.
Racing with the Moon, he did it with Sean Penn early on when he was young, like I think before Valley Girl or right after Valley Girl. Have you seen Pig?
No, I haven't seen that either, too. I'm a huge fan.
I'm going to ask you guys one. I've been fucking nerdrotic the other day. They suggested Maddie.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
I don't know what that is.
With Nick Cage. They said it was they said it was an Academy Award-winning fucking horrifying thing with a couple up in a cabin and somebody comes slaughters his wife and he goes and kills every last one of them.
Matty or Maddy?
I think it's DDY.
Is it Maddie? It's not Maddie. It's fucking.
Hold on.
It's hang on a sec. That's not it.
It's not it, is it?
No.
I don't know. It begins with an M. It's a chick's name. Martha? Mulva?
Oh, no.
Mulva.
Mulva.
Oh my God, I have the funniest Mulva story.
Give it to us. Don't fucking hold back.
Okay, I was in Vegas before I got married, okay? It's New Year's Eve. And there's these 4 hot chicks, okay? And I'm with one of them. And the girl
Mandy.
Her 3 friends call her Mulva. And I go, Dolores or something like that, like Seinfeld. Yeah. And all the girls go, "Oh, you're the first one."
Dude, all right. Fucking Hollywood stories from Jack Handy. This one night I'm coming out. There's what's that fucking steak restaurant, Gordo, on La Cienega they put in a few years ago?
Lowry's? Oh, no.
The Steerhead STK.
Yeah.
I'm in there. And I'm going outside to have a smoke, and there's these 3 fucking chicks with their cell phones standing in front of the door inside, like waving. And they're going, "This thing doesn't work." And I go, "Ladies, let me show you how to work one of these." went through the door. They thought it was an automatic door. And they were like, "Oh my God, you got us. Don't tell anyone about that."
I'm trying to look up what doors are supposed to do, and I can't find it, motherfucker. What am I supposed to do?
It's a fucking door app. All right, we have some fun we're going to end on, guys. I am going to tell you about how my life has been. I'm far more controversial than the two of you, even though we got the American History X guy and Elon Musk and the fucking hot chip guy. I have been skewered by the press and especially fucking critics forever. And every time I come out and do anything, like recently I've been stepping out doing some other guys' podcasts. So now we got articles, written by me, and they're always just like, oh, overnight the documentary, this guy's an asshole and his movie sucks, and anybody that likes it sucks, which I've always found unsettling. We'll call it that. Like, why would you insult the fans? It's one thing to insult me. It's another to insult the fans. Here, I'm going to go grab something really quick. I've got this all, I printed this out today. Hang on.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mandy, I haven't seen that one, but...
see Pig.
Yeah, and did you see Longlegs, the new one that...
No, how is that?
Fucking creepy, dude. He's just really, really fucking...
He's doing some strange shit.
He's so fucking good. And back in the 80s when it was Vampire's Kiss, and I swear to God, and then he was out that doing fucking Raising Arizona when I saw him in that, dude, playing H.I. McDonough. Some of his shit in that is like some of the best... Oh, God.
He's amazing.
He may be the best and worst actor ever. Like, some of his shit is so bad.
Who's the best and worst actor? You got to go Keanu Reeves, right?
I would go Nick Cage, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, even that one where what was that one where he played himself?
Hang on. What'd you say?
What was that one where he played himself and the guy had like a whole fucking room of all his memorabilia?
Oh yeah, that
was fucking great.
Yeah. What were you saying, Dave?
He just got into financial trouble, so he had to do all these shitty movies.
Oh, that's probably it. I'll tell you though, when his tits get up and he sees something, I don't know if there's too many people better than Nick Cage.
Oh, wow.
He's like sort of a national treasure. All right, so here I'm gonna explain my situation. Just the other day, right when this is like fucking yesterday or 2 days ago, McKenna's telling me about the fucking Nazi salute and Elon Musk shit. And I get a Google alert of an article called The Boondock Saints, A Legacy as Thin as a Dorm Room Poster. And it happens to hit some racial shit. They basically call me a racist. They call all the fans of Boondock Saints racists. And this guy, his name is Soham Gadra. I would read through this biblical critique, but it's just too goddamn long. So I'll hit with a couple of hot spots. He says in the 2000s, the Boondock Saints was defined critically as a lazy pastiche of much better movies.
Is that a fucking pastry?
It's a word.
Is a pastiche a pastry?
Yeah, I guess.
What is a pastiche?
It's a pastiche.
Is it a little buttery little thing with a fucking...
I don't know, but it's funny because like his commenters use the word pastiche. It's like they, the guru taught us a new word. Everybody pastiche. Pass the pastiche. Anyway, here's a couple other hot spots. The film's purported political stance, vigilantism in the absence of a total police state, doesn't have any juice to it. This is one that kind of struck me as what's going wrong here. My films don't really, even American History X, it doesn't have a political stance. We're artists. We write shit that we like, that we want to see, that we're into, that we're interested in, we think is cool. Yeah. There's no like overlying and strangely there are politically motivated movies that are trying to sell you shit. I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Constant Gardener, but we should all watch that and come back and do another one. Motherfucker. They were just trying to sell you political bullshit the whole time. I was like, and there was like a couple times I'm like, really? You're gonna like a chemical company experimented on 100,000 black people in Africa and slaughtered them all, and nobody knows. It was just so fucking over the top. And they were trying, and the wicked shitty thing about it was there were excellent actors in it. Some of the best. Ray Fiennes starred in that. He's one of the fucking best, and amazing. All the supporting roles were great, but that Boondock did not have a political stand. It was pretty much just a twist on the normal, hero's journey, and an action film. Good guys on the bad guys. Now here he goes. Duffy likewise has no problem with his characters engaging in generous use of the N-word. But the only black characters in the entire film are at the end sequence with the fake newsreel of people expressing their opinions that the protagonists were in the right. So I am a racist. Then we have Duffy
I've never heard any of those reviews before with American History X.
No.
Hey, you had plenty of black people in your film. All right, so Duffy even has Defoe recreate his famous knee prayer stance from Platoon after excitedly solving a crime scene. A, that was an homage. B, me and Willem just came up with it together, and he was like, yeah, that
was great.
You know, kind of a little bit of a signature on it, subtle enough so that many wouldn't notice, but some would. And then he says, you know, to quote Roger Ebert, you know you're in trouble when your movie scores 16% on the tomato meter and the documentary about it scores 79%. Now we're going to go through his like 8 to 10 comments. This thing's been up for 72 hours. There's 10 people that have commented on it. I got to read you some of these. It's almost like these people have gurus. These critics have their gurus, and they have this, you know, these followers, right? So here's this guy. A good bit of this movie's popularity comes from its incredibly juvenile view of morality. It's okay to kill bad people is something that goes back to Westerns in cinema and further back in literature. He's right about that. But in the intervening years, artists have tried to reconcile or deconstruct this stance. That's woke as fuck. They did,
yeah, it
and
is.
it sucked. When they tried to do that, it fucking sucked.
This is where everything sucks. It's like, so what, should we rehabilitate everybody? We're going to have movies about rehabilitation? Everybody listen, we're just going to have a good long cry, we'll have a hug, and then we'll fucking talk it out. And you know what? You just go and swear you're not going to be bad anymore. We'll let it go. Look at that.
Can you imagine if Charlie? Can you imagine if Charlie Bronson was like, "You killed my wife and kids,
yeah,
but I forgive you.
I forgive you.
I forgive you. I'm not coming after you." All right, so this guy's a pussy, but not in this movie. Especially in the post 9/11 world, there was an easily digestible movie. This was an easily digestible movie that coincided with the viewpoint of many white adolescent males. Now, here's another thing. Same guy. When I was a young adult, I remember one Halloween where damn near everyone grabbed their best friend and dressed like these two. Despite the movie being seemingly everywhere for a hot minute, I agree with this article that there really is no legacy to speak of. Sequel, trequel coming out next year. Thanks. It caught lightning in a bottle with its look and timing, but no one talks about it anymore, which is odd because given the state of politics in the U.S., you would think that this movie would hit big with the next generation of goose steppers.
Interesting.
Interesting that we got McKenna on American History X, knows what a fucking goose step is. These people are calling me racist, the fans racist. And here's this one blows me away. It's like when you do this kind of shit, tell me what you I'm just going to fucking say this, shut up, and you guys tell me. When I saw this about 12 years back, I was sort of going along with it, not much as a lazy pastiche of better movies, but more as an over-the-top satire pastiche of better movies. It was fucking pastiche shit. Then we hit the end scene, blah, 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 blah. Oh, fucking hell. I was that shitty kid in the dorm room with a poster from this movie. I want to retroactively go back in time so I can smack that moron and tear down his poster.
Well,
why do you do this to yourself?
I don't know. I don't. This is I barely ever read these because the articles are always the same. Duffy's a huge asshole. His fucking fans are dicks. They don't know what the fuck a good movie is. This one I happened to read, and I'm glad I did because it sort of has this racism, being that dog whistle of racism kind of clocked into it. But here's what I did, and I wanted to get you guys' approval. If you say aye, we're posting this on this guy's fucking site, right? What the fuck can I get the goddamn internet on? Hold on. Okay. All right. So So this guy had like 10 people comment on this. His name is Soham Gadra. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
All right. This is what I have written into the comment section, but have not posted yet. I'm going to read it to you guys, my two fellow fucking writers. And if you sign off on it, I'm posting this I'm hitting send on this. So here is what I said. Dear Soham Gadra, this is Troy Duffy, and I wrote and directed the Boondock Saints. I wanted to say a few things, so I am joining your 10 subscriber circle jerk in order to expand its ranks to a much more prodigious 11. Assessing the films of the past through the prism of today's woke politics is a study in pseudo-intellectual ridiculousness. But let's do it with a few from the AFI Top 100, considered the finest films ever made. High Noon, The Godfather, Cool Hand Luke. Well, they're just brimming with macho male toxicity. Let's cancel them. Apocalypse Now, just another example of white colonizers gentrifying and enslaving the peaceful native population. That won't do, so let's burn it. And Schindler's List? Christ, at least I had a few black guys in my film. It's racist. Let's not watch that one anymore. You quoted Roger Ebert as saying, you know you're in trouble when your movie scores 16% on the tomato meter and the documentary about it scores 79%. A scathing review, Mr. Gadra, and one that may have been true at the time, but let's take a look at today's numbers. On the Rotten Tomato website, our current tomato meter score is 26%, determined by only 31 reviews by professional critics like you. But our popcorn meter on the same website scores Boondock Saints at 91% with over 250,000 reviews from actual audience members. Reality check time. It's over. Your woke world is crumbling down around you and your anemic cabal of ever-treating followers. Good luck with that. In closing, Mr. Gadra, you are the guy standing on a pile of rubble, fecklessly shaking your fist at the heavens. And I'm the guy that did Boondock Saints. So fuck you. All the best, Troy Duffy. What do we think, fellas?
I think you should leave it alone.
You say what?
Leave it alone.
Like not post that?
This is all I have to say.
You're going to do it anyway, so.
No. You tell me. You want me to? I've never done this.
I think you're giving this fucker way too much attention, to be honest.
I don't know. I think we should invite him on the podcast.
Sure. Now that's interesting.
Soham Gadra.
Yeah.
Always an open invitation to come stand up for your side of things, but you're getting the fucking business, buddy. Me and fucking McKenna have decided.
Boy.
Boom.
There we go. I knew it.
Did you send that?
I did. Now I got to fucking sign up for shit. Please enter your name.
Sign up for his fucking page.
My name is Troy Pastiche. Pastiche Duffy.
Pastiche.
Email, okay. You fucking asshole.
All right, let's get out of this thing.
Please enter a password. Pastiche. I'm not a robot. Boom. All right, we've been posted, gentlemen. Okay, guys, last thing to mention here is we give our fans a little gift at the end of everything. I am posting the first chapter of my audiobook, Boondock Saints Volume 1, Blood Origin. You guys get to listen to that for free. Just self-sponsored, motherfucker.
Chapter 1, The Brothers. Ezekiel 25:17. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children.
Talk your little shite.
Guarded Detective Brannick had officially lost his patience.
We got witnesses. You were seen, oh yeah. 2 indigents in the park saw you and your brother. They are right down the hall filling out incident reports as we speak. Nothing to say?
Clearly not. Murphy McManus remained silent and stoic, keeping his eyes trained on the light switch across from him as he sat in police interrogation room number 1 in Ballyfermot, Ireland. Though he was mute on the outside, his mind was another story. Murphy had seen all the cop shows on TV and thought being put under the lights and pressed by police would be cool, but it wasn't. He wasn't going to give them shit, not a word. And for one simple reason, Brannick was a bully. Murphy hated bullies. That's what had started this madness. Murphy McManus was 13 years old. Just down the hall, in interrogation room number 3, sat his equally detached brother, Connor. But guarded detective Pam McFinnerty was gentle and kind with the boy. You got your whole life out in front of you. This doesn't have to get all blown up out of proportion. You were just 2 boys who snuck out to have a little fun and things got a little out of the barrel is all. It's right, isn't it? She gave the boy a moment, but he remained silent and stared at the light switch on the opposing wall. Talk to me, Connor. You know you can talk to me, yeah? Clearly not. This was the good cop routine. He'd seen it on all the TV shows. Connor felt that emotional tug and wanted to blurt it all out. Wanted to tell her that he and his brother were guilty as sin, but that she was wrong. Nothing had gotten out of the barrel. They planned it. They meant to do it. And that fucker got what he deserved. But at this point, the boy's silence seemed almost a competition between them. He knew what Murphy would say, straight off, when this was over. Did you hold your mud? He wasn't about to let his brother win. A slight smile drifted across his face, then disappeared. Back with Murphy, not much had changed. He sat, elbows on the table, hands down, weathering the storm. He's in hospital now. The poor man's lacerated all over him. Broken bones, fractured skull. You think you're not going to pay for that? Well, think again, you little animal. You're going to the boys' juvenile, you and your brother. Brannick suddenly put his face right to the boy, and quieter now. And I hear the older lads over there love fresh meat like you. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Murphy remained a stump, but burned on the inside. Poor man. Fuck that guy. He got what he deserved. Now, with Brannick's ravening face inches from his, and the man's stale tobacco breath burning his nose, another thought hit him. Ma Belle. She was coming. She was on her way, and these poor cops were in for it. Murphy realized that he actually felt sorry for them. A slight smile crossed his face, then disappeared. Brannick suddenly pulled back, as if he had been smacked in the gob. Did this little shit just smile at me? You're gonna give me a full fucking confession! Bam! He slammed a balled fist down the boy's left hand. Murphy pulled away, wincing in pain. In interrogation room number 3, Connor's left hand suddenly jumped. He pulled it to his chest. McFinnerty seized with a start. What? Are you all right? Connor massaged his palm, turned his eyes to her. Different eyes. Not the eyes of a 13-year-old boy. He spoke for the first time. Tell that cop. Keep his hands off me, brother. Confusion and just a little fear washed over the detective. What? Are you? She thought a moment, then stood. Excuse me, I'll be straight back, Connor. She left the room and closed the door. She found Brannick in the hall, his back against the wall and looking down. What happened? Did something happen? He ran a hand through his hair. Nah, it's just, nothing, it's nothing. Suspicion washed over McFinnerty's face as she opened the door to interrogation 1. Murphy sat there massaging his bruised hand. The look on the boy's face told her everything she needed to know. She whirled to her partner. Did you hurt him? Brannick slammed the door shut. It's fine. He's fine. It's nothing. With fire in her eyes. You should never have been made DI. You're a fucking disgrace. Brannick got right in her face. You should watch your words, Missy McFucking-Finnerty. She had dealt with it before, her partner touching up suspects. But this, he's just a kid. You sorry fucker. You roughed up a 13-year-old boy. Not one of my boys, I hope. They turned, and there she stood, Ma Belle. She held her purse with both hands in front like an offering. Annabelle McManus had all the countenance of a proper schoolmarm, standing there in her full-length housecoat, neat, clean, a soulless smile on her face, and her chestnut hair pulled tightly back. Oh, don't mistake me. I'm in when it comes to corporal punishment, all for it. Every boy needs a good box into the ears, especially at their age. I'd prefer to do it myself, of course, just for future reference. The guarded detective stood in shock and had apparently lost the ability to speak. The Irish Ma brushed past them and opened the door. Murphy had shown no fear up to now, but when Ma Belle's eyes hit his, dread overtook the boy. He and Connor called it the soul punch. Perhaps all mothers in Ireland had it. That all-knowing laser-shot look that could strike immediate and near-lethal terror. But Ma Bell had more of it, much more. "Come on now," she ordered. Murphy dutifully got up and walked to her, eyes down. Connor had heard the commotion and exited interrogation number 3. He also made his way down the hall to his mother, eyes down. Ma Bell grasped her son's hands. "Well, let's be off. Good day to you." The Irish mum began walking down the hall, her boys in hand. "Miss, you can't just take him and go," Pam McFinnerty called out. Ma Bell stopped and turned, holding her boys' hands. "No? Why's that?" By now, Brannick had regained himself. "Your boys have been involved in a very serious crime, miss. And we have to..." Ma Bell cut him off. "Oh, they were. They very much were involved in a serious crime. They were snatched up by Garda, questioned without a parent or guardian present. Then they were subjected to police brutality." Brannick shook his head. "Now let's just take it easy here. I was merely talking with the boy, that's all. Things can get heated." Ma Bell let go of her boy's hands and walked over to the detectives. Connor and Murphy's hearts dropped in their chest. "Here it comes." "Things can get heated. I understand that perfectly well. In fact, allow me to convey to you how hot they can get, Detective." Ma Bell moved her eyes between the cops. "They can get lawyer hot. They can get newspaper and television hot. They can get people losing their Garda jobs hot. And you know what else?" Ma Bell threw a rock-hard knee to Brannick's groin and dropped the man to his knees. The matriarch stood over him. "They can get a swift and blinding shot to the nuts hot. Good day." She turned, grabbed up her boys once again, and began walking out. McFinnerty was absolutely floored as she looked down at her savage partner cradling his crotch and gasping in pain. But she had to know. "Connor, why did you do it? Please, tell me." Connor stopped, halting the family caravan. He looked to Murphy. His brother's face seemed to say, "Don't do it." But he had made his decision. The boy turned and looked down the hall at the detective who had been kind to him. "Check his locker in the utility room. It's in the far back." The caravan took to walking again. McFinnerty had the look of a dog with a bone. She would certainly get a search warrant straight away. But though it seemed a small thing now, even through all this madness, it still bugged her. It really bugged her. "Miss McManus, your boys, are they twins?" Without even turning back. "They are, and not even the good kind." Earlier that night, fraternal twin brothers Connor and Murphy snuck out of their bedroom window and noiselessly dropped to the ground outside the home in the Irish public housing community they lived in. Ballyfermot, Dublin, they called it, due to its proximity to the capital city. It was a tough industrial town with depressing brick and block houses attached in long, undulating rows that were the pride of the government's social housing program. The Fed allowed leasers to paint their homes, and you could tell the neighbors that got on well because they chose different shades of the same color. Then suddenly black, pink, olive green. It gave the whole place the look of a freak circus sideshow. They crept quickly along, sticking to the hedge, staying in the darkness. They had a plan, and they were executing it. The boys knew that Norbert Kinney lived out of his VW Vanagon and knew right where he parked it every night. They had also surveilled the man and discovered that he got drunk at the pub around the corner each Saturday like clockwork. It was a working-class shithole called the Yards. At this hour, a few drunk stragglers remained belly up to the bar, but no one was around outside the poor man's pub. Soon the boys were peering through the vehicle's dewy windows as it sat parked in a secluded dark spot at the edge of St. Sebastian City Park. Kinney lay passed out inside as usual, his massive beer gut exposed. Drool leaked over his swarthy beard as he snored away. Connor and Murphy looked at each other. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They had a plan, and they were executing it. Connor kept an eye on Kinney through the window as Murphy approached the driver's side door. A slight click as he popped the latch. He looked at his brother. The man had not moved. Connor gave the thumbs up. Murphy gingerly opened the door and peered inside. There were power tools attached to the sides and hanging from the ceiling. The slumbering man had converted his vehicle into a workspace and scant living quarters. Tools and job site materials were everywhere except where he lay. Murphy stared at the hibernating beast. He couldn't see Kinney's face, just his massive stomach, which shook with each snore. Anger washed over the lad. This man was getting what he deserved tonight. During the planning stages, his ever-cautious brother had asked, "Why should we do it to him?" Murphy had quickly retorted, "'Cause Jesus fucking wants it that way." Murphy turned and found the steering wheel shift. He slowly put it in neutral. A little knocking sound as it found the gear, but no movement from Kinney. The boy now stood at the open door and nodded to his brother. Connor stepped to the back of the vehicle and shouldered it. He pushed and the VW quietly crept forward, its slim tires making a low crunching sound on the pavement. Murphy turned the steering wheel, guiding the van out into the road. Kinney snored away as his VW moved down the street, gathering speed. Soon Connor and Murphy were jogging and keeping light of foot to dampen the sound of their steps. Murphy let go at the spot they had predetermined. Connor gave it one last good push and stopped beside his brother. Now they just watched. The riderless vehicle rolled down the steep hill just as they had planned. It was picking up speed, just as they had planned. Murphy had left the driver's side door open to avoid the sound of its closure, just as they had planned. But the van started to drift. It crossed the T intersection at the foot of the hill and hit the curb at 45 miles an hour. With the great sound of crunching metal, the behemoth leapt into the air and smashed through the city bus stop. Inside, Kinney had jolted awake. Fuck! The steel bench and cement posts that held up the bus stop's rain cover twisted the van again as it crashed through. In an explosion of metal, concrete, and glass, the VW wrenched sidelong in midair and landed on its passenger side. The report was like a long thunderclap as it rolled over and over. This was not what they had planned. It was better. Now the tools of his trade became his savage metal attackers as the disintegrating colossus continued its riotous pilgrimage. Norbert Kinney was inside a meat grinder. Connor knew this might happen. Like dropping a top round in a tank of piranhas.